Hey guys, welcome to a Barn Door Cycling video blog with Matt. Hey, this is called Gravel Madness, and I just wanted to kind of show you this gravel ride I went on yesterday that turned out to be a little bit of a mess. Not just for my fault, but mostly my fault, I think. Okay, so here we are. We're just getting started, and I'm hanging out in a draft here. And we start off from the Mitchellsville store, heading towards the hills, and we got some pretty nice tame roads to get started with, and everybody's having a pretty good time, and we're just cruising down this highway here. And I'd checked behind me, there was no cars coming, so normally I wouldn't ride out in the lane like this, but we're getting ready to turn. So like, hey, I always stay as far right as possible. I think that's your safest bet. Anyway, so here we're about to hit our actual first gravel section. This is Stoneface Road, just past the Big Celine Church, and you can see that, I guess, hitting the gravel section, these guys have decided to hit the gas here, and I'm staying in their draft and trying to hang with them, but you can't really see my computer, but I think we're doing about 18, and there's no tailwind or anything. We're just really hammering into gravel. This was some pretty rough gravel, and I feel like 18 was kind of fast, and I was starting to kind of struggle a little bit. You see me getting into drops, trying to get as much aero help as I can get here. So it's kind of wild. You see, I think that's Mo in front of me there. I'm pretty sure that's Mo. You can see he's got just a shorts and jersey on, and I've got two shirts, a jersey, I've got leg warmers on, and I was pretty comfortable. I thought I was gonna be kind of cold. So here we can see Mo, he's pulling away from me. I looked down at my computer and my heart rate was over 170, and we weren't climbing. This was just a flat section, and we got Eagle Mountain Climb coming up, and I was just like, this is too fast. This is not good. It's pretty early in the ride still, and I felt like I was just going too hard. So I slowed up. I want to say by choice, but I don't know how much longer I could have stayed with those guys. It was starting to really hurt me, and I just decided, hey, I need to let them go. So I slow up here and just let them kind of move up the road and get away from me. So this is a Time Warp, the GoPro 7 Time Warp, which I'm always stunned by how much it can make this work. I don't know the magic that it uses. You can see my body's all over the place. I mean, this is a steep climb. It's a tough climb, and it somehow manages to smooth out. You can see it's incredibly smooth how the land moves by, even though my body's all over the place. But this is a tough climb. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave the entire downhill, but while we're doing this downhill here, I'm going to tell you a story. So where's everybody at? Well, most of the guys were out ahead of me because I'd been dropped. Right before the climb, I passed my buddy Hagler, was fixing a flat just right before the climb, and part of me wanted to stop and make sure everything was okay, but I'm trying not to hold everybody up, and I know I'm going to be slow up the climb. So, I waited for him. So, I didn't wait for him. I just went on. And so everybody's ahead of me. Hagler's behind me, and I'm doing the Eagle Mountain downhill. Now, the Eagle Mountain downhill is about 2.5 miles. It's not super steep except for in a couple places, so you can pedal and go about 23, 24 through here. Gravel downhills, I've got road bike tires. I got a gator skins on this bike, and I was running about 80 pounds of air, so not the safest setup, but honestly, gravel, you just got to remember one thing: just don't push it in the corners. That's just brake a little more than you should. This is my new gravel bike. It's got disc brakes, and I'd never had disc brakes on the road before. Much better feeling on stuff like this. Most of the time it's not that big of a deal, but on this kind of downhill, it was very, very assuring to have the disc brakes. They're pretty handy. So anytime you do a ride and you've got multiple people and you start kind of breaking up, and some guys are ahead and some guys are behind, In the long run, if you're all going to be riding together and it's not like every man for themselves, it's probably slower and probably a big problem to not just stay together. This used to be scary. This section is now super clean. You might notice they just recently, back in kind of, I think, winter, fixed up Eagle Mountain Road, and it's so much better than it used to be. You could barely ride it. It was so tore up and messed up. Woo, that looks fun. So I catch up to my buddies just right up here. They're all standing on the side of the road, and guess what? Hagler had a flat. We had to go back over Eagle Mountain. His tube had a hole in it. He couldn't get it aired up. We had to go back and help him. So here we're on Gape Hollow Road. I'm starting to feel a little better. We got everybody with us. I'm really feeling pretty good through here. Hagler's sprinting up this climb. I know this climb really well. I've rode this quite a bit, and I know that it's not much farther, and it's a little bit steep. So I'm thinking, hey, I'm gonna get mountain points here. I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna make the climb, and everything's going great, and then boom, Hagler says, "What, did you cramp?" Nope, no cramp. So there it is. Crank's about to fall off. I have not done much with SRAM cranks. This bike has a SRAM crank in it. I haven't done much with SRAM cranks. I put that crank in myself. I got it what I felt like was tight enough, and I haven't been checking it. This is like the 6th or 7th ride on that bike, and I haven't been checking it. So in the process of coming loose, the bolt stripped out, and I'm screwed. So I don't have too much farther to go to get to Herod, and I think, well, I'll get to Herod, and I'll have somebody come pick me up. And I decided to try to ride, and you can see it wasn't a great idea. That could have been a massive issue. My crank just fell out. I mean, it was a massive issue. My crank just fell out while I was trying to pedal it, and Mo was right behind me. Mo wanted to film me cranking one leg. He thought that'd be funny with my camera. But my crank fell out, and it's funny, but man, if he'd hit that thing, I mean, that would have caused some damage. That's dangerous. I mean, it was a dumb idea, and I really thinking about it now, nobody got hurt, but man, that could have been bad. So anyway, yeah, not the dumbest thing I've ever done, but pretty dumb, yeah. So at this point, it's no pedaling. We got a couple little hills. I got to jog up here, and then we're back.
Better watch your chain. It's about to go in the wheel.
Yeah, I got a little push from Mo here to get over this last climb, and I got one more downhill. So, yeah, I mean, it was a fun ride. It was enjoyable, and I just, we did a couple dumb things. You don't leave a guy with a flat tire and climb one of the biggest climbs on the ride, because you never know if you're going to have to go back and get him. Usually it wouldn't be a problem, but every now and again something happens, like a bad tube, and we had to turn around and go back and help him out. And then it's all fun and games until your crank falls out and gets jabbed in somebody's leg or something. So thinking back on it, I'm pretty aggravated at myself that I did so many silly things. But anyway, good ride.